All right. Well, thank you for joining us on this platform.
Thank you for
Do,
having me.
yeah, of course. Do you want to introduce yourself and just tell me a little bit about what you do and your title?
Yep. So my name's Maceo Owens, and I am all things employee resource group. So much so that on LinkedIn, I actually go by the ERG Homegirl. I lead an ERG program at Open Table and Kayak, and I also have an ERG leader development community called the ERG Movement.
Oh, wow. That is a lot. So you keep busy. What is one thing that really attracts you to sales? And what another question, this is like a two-part question. Why is it so important, specifically as a Black woman, to have summits like this?
Well, to answer the first part, what attracts me to sales, I think that it's just a fundamental skill that can apply to almost any role. Like I just mentioned, being in employee resource groups and like the employee engagement space, a lot of people would say, what does that have to do with sales?
Mm.
But just like they discussed in the session today, you have to essentially sell people on why the work that we do matters. And that's something that you have to do every day. Or even as an ERG leader, you have to sell people on why they should attend your events and why they should get engaged and participate. So sales is such a key skill that applies beyond just what people traditionally think of as sales.
Yeah. One of the questions that I've been asking many people here is that, navigating a space, specifically as a marginalized group, Black women, is very difficult.
Mhm.
And you have to, really know kind of like the lingo, the language. How has that been in your career and just navigating that? And what advice would you give to just women, young women getting up?
On how they navigate like the corporate space.
Yeah.
Honestly, for me, because I didn't go to college, it was very difficult. Like when I first got into the corporate space, I was very unconfident with it. I think for me, it's embracing who I am and the fact that that's not my background and like the traditional corporate talk isn't me has been actually what's helped me to navigate and just being more confident in being myself and saying like, actually, I don't understand that phrase. Can you break it down for me? But on the other side, not being afraid to use lingo that they might not be familiar with in corporate. So I remember one time I told someone like, you really came in clutch. And like the whole meeting, they were like, what does clutch mean? But it was just something that's part of actually just helping other people to fully bring themselves to work is that you have to be the first one to do it sometimes when
Yeah.
it takes practice. It is easier said than done, but it's nice when it's done.
Absolutely. What has been one of your favorite things about this conference? What did you learn so far?
I am such a huge fan of affinity spaces. I think one of the biggest takeaways that I got, and it's probably like one of those underrated things that I just heard, but hearing Chantel say, her name's Chantel, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Hearing Chantel say, like, this isn't a diversity conference. This is a sales conference. And this is just so happens to be based on like a specific demographic of people. That was really big for me because I think that there's more of this needed. There's almost an infinite amount of these that can happen within any space in the corporate world, in the professional world. There's more affinity spaces that can be created. The fact that so many people are excited to show up here, it's great vibes. I can imagine with literally everything, with a learning and development conference that has to do with this community or with, I mean, it's almost infinite marketing. It just keeps on going, product, tech. So just hopefully seeing more of these things happen. But also for me, it's a learning that like it started with, she mentioned a couple of times, just a dinner, something small. So the power of community is
Yeah.
it's showing right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. I absolutely agree. And just speaking to everybody in the conference, everyone has been so warm. And I think that is this synergy
Mhm.
that everyone feels in this room that, this is a collective space and we're all in this together and we're all going through, similar things in our careers, because there's people in their early careers and then there's people in their mid careers and late careers. So it's really exciting. What is one thing that you kind of want to, I know that you're doing a lot right now, but could you see yourself transitioning into another facet of sales? And what does that look like for you?
I think actually funny enough, when I first came to this conference, I was really just trying to tell people like joining ERG, like that was kind of my mission. But with that, I mean, even the work that I'm doing with having a community of employee resource group leaders and helping them learn, that's a sales piece there in terms of me convincing people or selling people on, hey, you should join this community. So for me, I think that even just being like an entrepreneur in that space, there's so much sales work to learn. And eventually, hopefully, building out a sales team. So that's something, an unexpected thing that I didn't really come here thinking I would need or be able to get, but just thinking about like the future of what I have going on. And I can imagine for so many people who are entrepreneurs, like this is a conference that they could really benefit from that they may have never thought of.
Yeah. I love that. I love how this conference is really inspiring people and inspiring their careers and their future careers and everything. Name a quote. I mean, I don't know if you have a quote or, but name something, because when I was listening to Denise speak earlier, one thing that she said was, it's not the same thing. A sponsor is not the same thing as a mentor. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yes, come through. Could you name just something that was dropped on you, some knowledge that was dropped, and could you share it?
Oh, I'm so bad at like off the cuff things. I write everything down in my tablet. I did take a ton of notes, especially when Denise was speaking. If I had one, okay, I'll say this. I cannot remember the speaker's name, but on the AI panel that happened earlier, one of the closing statements was, you either basically get with it or get left behind when it comes to AI. And 9 times out of 10, unfortunately, our community is the one who's left behind when it comes to these things. And we're hesitant to try new things. Granted, I am a big AI fan, so definitely not getting left behind there. But I think it just speaks to other things that are coming up in the space just to stay relevant and stay on trend. This way you don't get left behind, because so many other people, they ride the wave and they go far with it. So that was just a reminder for me.
I love that. That was a bar. Mm-hmm. Well, where can we find you and how can we keep up with you?
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn, Maceo Owens, and also you can check out the ERG movement on LinkedIn and YouTube as well.
Thank you so much, Macy. We appreciate it.
Thank you.